you a professional?
Are you?
That's it, Clark. Show 'em who's boss.
Oh, we're all in this together.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the Clark Griswold YouTube channel. I am Mr. Clark Griswold. Happy to have you guys here. I am happy to be here. If you are a first timer to the channel, then welcome to you guys as well. First timers to the Strat, again, welcome. It's about to change the way that you guys trade, okay? So if you haven't subscribed yet, you can do so down below. Click on that subscribe button and hit that bell. That bell gives you notifications for when I send out daily videos just like this one, okay? Which is our daily setups for Wednesday, May 11th. I also send out top 5 videos for the day, learning tools, informational videos, motivational videos. I have a 4-set series on the hashtag 30 and 30 coined by Paul Ituaru. So you can go check out those videos. 3-1 setups, inside bars, outside bars, what the numbers on the candlesticks mean, entries and exits. All kinds of things like that. So you can also follow me on Twitter at Mr. Clark Griswold. You can comment there. You can DM me there. I get back to you guys usually the same day, just because I'm here to help you guys out through your trading journey. So you can get a hold of me there, or you can ask questions within any of my YouTube videos, and the same thing, I will get back to you guys, okay? So let's get started on this watch list for Wednesday, May 11th. I did tell you guys in a tweet I was going to make this one a bit more advanced. I was going to have some broadening formations on here for you guys. It is a little bit more advanced on the terms of the strat, okay? So don't be too concerned about it. Concentrate more on the candle setups more than what the broadening formations are, okay? If you're new, just take it one thing at a time, one day at a time. Learn one setup, whether it's a 2-1-2 setup or a 2-2 setup or a 3-1-2 setup. Learn one setup, get really good at it, and then move on to something else. Okay, so let's get started on this watch list. We're going to start with NEO. Okay, we're on the daily chart. NEO has an outside bar. Okay, we can play both sides of this outside bar realistically if we wanted to. Okay, but I've drawn some broadening formations for you guys, okay? Higher high to a higher high, almost tags that higher high there. So we basically have low to the high, comes back down, then back up, and then we come back down. There is another broadening formation from this lower low to this lower low. It's barely lower, not by much, but this one here is lower than this one back here. And then you can see I've got the top of that broadening formation there. Okay, so there are sub broadening formations within a broadening formation. There always will be. Okay, so if we look at NEO for tomorrow, for just the new stratters, or if you're not really concerned about the broadening formations, we can play this 2-3-2. Okay, so it may be a 2-3-2 continuation. We may break through this broadening formation, or we may break back up higher to make higher highs, okay? So if we're going higher and we break through this trigger at 14.68, we can take calls, or we can take puts at $12.86 if we break through the bottom of this broadening formation here and continue lower on NEO. So hopefully you guys are understanding what I did with the broadening formations if you're a little bit more advanced on this stuff. So we'll move on to the next one is Pfizer, PFE. And again, the reason I put Pfizer on here, not necessarily if it's a play, but again, this is a little bit more of an advanced thing, but we've got a higher high to a higher high, a lower low to a lower low. Okay, so this broadening formation is within this broadening formation, okay? So we're a higher high to a lower low back up, and I'm looking for this to possibly break down on a 2-2 reversal here, okay, and tag the bottom of this broadening formation. Again, the bottom of the wicks are always our targets, but I just put Pfizer on here just because we do have a little bit of a broadening formation within a bigger broadening formation, okay? So, and again, if you guys are new to the strat, don't rack your brains on this stuff. Just look at it as a 2-2 reversal. That's all you need to look at it as, okay? CSCO, we've got a 2 up that finished red, okay? So a lot of times when we have those, I'm looking for it to reverse back down. So that's why I've got the trigger down here. We have a 2 down, 2 up that finished red. So we're going to look for a 2 up, 2 down reversal. So I'm going to look for this to trigger here at 49.15 for puts. And I'm going to look for first targets right there. We've got good magnitude there, meaning a good gap between the trigger and the target for a good gain when you play that option. Okay, so that's on Cisco. Guys, if you like the content that I'm giving out, just give me a quick thumbs up now. It won't take long. Just go down to the bottom of that screen and click that thumb. Okay, next up we've got Walmart with an inside bar. Okay, inside bars I really enjoy playing. I love playing them. That's how I got really good at playing options, was just watching for these inside bars. Okay, so an inside bar does not, or a 1 bar, as you see down here, does not break the high or the low of the previous candle. Okay, so it stays within the range of the previous candle, and that's true on all time frames. A 1 or an inside bar is a 1 or an inside bar on a weekly chart, a daily chart, a minute, a second, an hourly, yearly, doesn't matter. So an inside bar will show consolidation within a stock, and it's acting like it's becoming spring-loaded, and it's getting ready to explode to one side or the other. And you can go back and look on any inside bar, and most of them show us with a big break up or a big break down to the other side. Okay, Walmart doesn't have a ton of them on the daily. Here's one with a big break up. Here's one with a nice break down to the downside. Here's another one where we break to the downside and hit targets. Here's another one where we trended up, hit targets, and then reversed. So inside bars really work well, you guys, if you're looking for day trades on the daily chart or any chart really. Okay, so we're going to look for the inside bar. I'll tell you right now, this one will be on a top 5 play just because it is an inside bar. So we're going to look for calls at 152.25, and our first and second targets are just the preceding wicks, the tops of the preceding wicks, or magnitude, or pivot points, or whatever we want to call it, where the bears have their stop losses. And again, if we come back to the downside, this is our first target here, and this dotted blue line, guys, is again part of another broadening formation. Okay, lower low to a lower low, and realistically we could move this. Is that too low? Move that right to there, and that becomes the bottom. I know that one's hard to see, but that becomes the bottom of the broadening formation. So we have tagged it, and what we like to see is these two. This is a 2 down, 1, 2 reversal back to the upside. So we very well might break through the bottom of this broadening formation, but we'd be looking for a 2-1-2 up for the most part to trend back up on that broadening formation. From there's the bottom, and then the top of that broadening formation is higher high to a higher high, higher high. Okay, you see how that works? Bottom, top, still stayed up the top, back to the bottom, and we're going to look to trend back up to the top on Walmart. Okay, AA is Alcoa Corporation. Alcoa has a 2 down. I'll just make this a little bigger for you guys. A 2 down that finished green right here. Okay, so it was barely 2 down, but we had a 2 down that finished green. So we're going to look for a reversal back to the upside. Okay, and we can take our targets again, top of the first wick of the preceding wick, and then because there's the gap, if you guys remember, for my returning subscribers, the bottom of the wick, when there's a gap, is your next target, and then you can take the top of that wick on the same candle for your third target. So again, I said I would make this a little bit more advanced. We've tagged the bottom of a broadening formation here, okay? So there's a chance for exhaustion risk, as Sarah Strat Sniper would say, and we've got a lower low to a lower low here, okay? And that's on a smaller time frame. We can go on to a bigger one, okay? Lower low to a lower low. Okay, and there's our sub broadening formation, and here's the higher high of this one. And then we have another larger one up here and here. Okay, so that's on Alcoa. We've tagged the bottom of this broadening formation, and we'll look to trend higher tomorrow with the break of this trigger. Okay, next up we've got Apple, AAPL. Apple has a 2-up that finished red. Okay, and yes, I do have a couple broadening formations here, a sub one here and the main one here. If we zoom out, there's a smaller one, there's a little bit of a bigger one. Okay, but we had a 2-up that finished red. I'm going to look for this to trend down tomorrow. Okay, and again, we hit the bottom of this broadening formation. We very well might have a 2-2 continuation, but I'm going to look for a reversal on this just because we had a 2-up and it finished red. Okay, so a failed 2. And we can look for puts on this one at 152.90. And again, we can look at the bottom of this broadening formation here as our first target. Okay, AMD. AMD has an inside bar. So we can take calls on this one at $90.74 or puts at $85.40. The first target or first order of magnitude on this one is really, really crappy. It's not great at all. It's pennies, actually. It's 2 cents difference. So watch if we break to the downside. And then again, your second targets here, third targets here, and fourth targets are down here. If we break to the upside, we can take calls at 90.74. That can come out. And this has great magnitude here, from $90.74 to $93.73 on AMD. Okay, BIDU. Another inside bar on BIDU. And we can look for calls on this. Whoops, sorry guys. We can look for calls on this one at $111.17 or puts at 106.19. And again, you guys can draw your own targets on this as well. That blue line you see there is, might have been a broadening formation that I previously drawn on a, there you go, from here to here. So that is on a larger time scale, time frame. For that broadening formation. I'm not going to go through it, but I'll see if I can do a BF video for you guys. Okay, Chewie is up next. Chewie had a 2 down that finished green. Okay, so a failed 2. Through the broadening formation, we can look for calls on this one at 27.84. And again, a little bit tough because the first magnitude is only 6 cents away. Or the first target is only 6 cents away. Second one is a little bit higher. So just watch this one if you're playing it tomorrow. Be very careful because a lot of times what happens is we'll hit those targets and then we reverse right away. And it's fast and it doesn't take long. So I don't want you guys to get wrecked on a trade because of that. Let's go into CL, Colgate-Palmolive. And I know somebody mentioned on Twitter that they have a tough time because when they buy market price on an option, they're already out of the trade because the spread between and I always talk about this, the spread between the bid and the ask is too great. So if it's, the ask is sorry guys, if the ask is $1 and the bid is 70 cents, well, you're already 30 cents out if you're getting market price. And a lot of times when you try to get a limit order, they don't get filled. So that's why I like liquid stocks, high volume stocks. CL usually has really good premiums, and they have their spread between the bid and the ask is very, very small. It's only a couple pennies. It's the same as Neo, SPY, QQQ, Pfizer, Coke is like that, Apple, AMD, Cisco is like that a lot of times, Comcast is like that a lot of times. So just watch for them. Carnival Cruise Lines, Ford, Lucid, Plug Power, a lot of those ones are small premiums and small spread between the bid and the ask. So when you're getting a market fill, you're only like 2 or 3 cents out when you start the trade. So anyways, back to CL. Calls at 77.98. There's your first target. puts at 76.39. There's your first target on that inside bar, or the one bar. And again, if you go back and look on this inside bar, we had a little bit of a push up. So this one could have worked, but it wouldn't have been great. This one, you would have had a gap play here. This one here was a great play here on this inside bar. This one, you hit targets, good play. Inside bar, great play. You didn't hit targets, but that's a good move on an inside bar. Look at this 3-1 setup, boom. Inside bar, not quite targets, so that would have been a rough one. This one, you could have had a gap play on that one for a win. Good win here. This one hit targets, so you're good there. So inside bars really work really well. Okay, so CL. Next up, we've got GE. GE had a 2 down that finished red, but again, I put this on here because we were at the bottom of a broadening formation, and it's on a little bit bigger of a scale. If we go back, lower low to a lower low to a lower low. Okay, and then this one's from a higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high. Okay, and then we come back down. Now I've put a sub in here. Okay, higher high, and then the reason, and I think this is where a lot of people get tripped up, guys. The reason I've got it here, it looks arbitrary, but it's not, because we can't put it there, because then it doesn't become a broadening formation. Okay, I have to put it here. It's the next highest high for that bar. So I tweeted out one time, Cyberdog put something out about it, and I'm like, I bet you a lot of people don't know that. So anyways, we can look here, higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low. We're going to look for this thing to come back up. Okay, so we can take calls on this one. Triggers at 74.70 on a 2-2 reversal on GE. Okay, Lowe's has a 2 up that finished red. So let's look to take this to the downside with puts at 190.25. First targets are at the bottom of this outside bar. And this outside bar, I haven't drawn it, but it would be the bottom of a broadening formation. We just have to draw it on there. Lowe's has not a great spread between the bid and the ask usually, and the premiums are a little bit higher, so I don't usually put them on there. Okay, Lululemon also has higher premiums, but we had a 2 down that finished green, and again, if I'm to draw this lower low here, we could. And we draw it from here to here. Okay, so that's our lower low on that one. Here's another one here. Okay, so 2 down that finished green. Let's look for calls on Lululemon at 307.89. There's your first target. We can move on to the next one. That's Lyft. Lyft had a 2 down that finished green, and again, we're probably at the bottom of a broadening formation here, and it's, there you go. It's a big one, but there to there. Okay, and your higher high would be somewhere in here. Okay, so up and then back all the way down. Okay, so and again, you could draw a separate one here from here to here, like so. Okay, realistically, you could have that high to a low, back up to a high, back up to a low. We'll see if it trends back up to that range, so we can look for calls on this one at $19.58 on Lyft. How am I doing for time? Running out here. MGM inside bar, so we can take calls on MGM at $36.77, puts at $35.05. I'm going to try to go through these a little bit faster here. Inside bar on Monster, so calls at $85.28, puts at $83.07. Microsoft has a 2 up that finished red, so we're going to look for this to trend down despite this broadening formation. Calls it, or puts at 265.07 on Microsoft. Next up is Micron Technologies. Nice inside bar there on Micron. calls at 70.55, puts at 67.62. This magnitude sucks. So just be careful again if we trend down lower and you take that play. Netflix is up next. Netflix had a 2 down that finished green, bottom of a broadening formation. Okay, so higher highs, lower lows, higher highs, lower lows. We'll see if we can get this to trend up. Calls at 181.82 on Netflix. Next up, we've got NVAX, this big 2 bar here that finished 2 down that finished green. So we'll look for calls at 55.43. NVIDIA, inside bar, we can take calls at 182.08, puts at 170.25. Procter and Gamble. Procter and Gamble has a 3-1 setup. So 3-1 setups, as you guys know, are one of my favorite plays, one of my favorite setups. They're rare, and they seem to do really, really well when we run into them. So again, outside bar breaks the high and the low of the previous candle. Inside bar stays within the range of the previous candle. And when you put those two together for a 3-1-2 setup, you're looking at a very, very rare and a very powerful pattern. I believe Rob Smith calls this the Chicago because the 312 is the area code for Chicago. So we can take calls at 156.66. 11 cents out is the magnitude, which is tough on that one. But if we're looking to the downside, 153.99 actually. Yeah, 153.97. We're looking for puts and the target at 152.75. If we go back on Procter and Gamble to see the last time we had a 3-1, then we ran into a double inside bar. So the next one after that, this is how rare they are, guys. I have to go back all the way to September of 21. Okay, and if we zoom out on this to take a peek, we had a 3-1, and we had a nice little run down. We didn't hit targets, but this would have been a good gain on the day on that 3-1 setup. And then another one here, 3-1 setup, outside bar, inside bar, and we had a nice run down for about 4 days on that one, okay? So Procter & Gamble, I'll tell you right now, that one will be on the top 5 list, no question. 3-1 setup, Procter & Gamble. Okay, next up, we've only got a few left here. Peloton, 2 down with a gap that finished green. Okay, so, and again, at the bottom of a broadening formation from here to here. Do we continue down? It's very possible, but we had a 2 down that finished green. We're going to look for this to trend back up, so we'll take calls at 13.49. First target, bottom of the candle, because the gap, that's right, because we have this gap here, and then the next target is on the top of that same candle, okay? And that's for Peloton. QQQ, this is another one of those, it's like SPY, it's very liquid, so the spread between the bid and the ask is very small. It's usually only a couple pennies, and the premiums are not super high. They're not 30 cents low, but you're looking at, you know, $100 for a contract or so, maybe 100 to 400, I guess, depending on, okay? So again, we look at QQQ here, and we're at the bottom of a broadening formation again, right? So if we zoom out, lower low to a lower low, okay? And we go to the high side, there it is, higher high to a higher high, and that's our broadening formation, okay? Higher high to a lower low to a higher high to a lower low, okay? So now we're looking for QQQ to possibly trend back up. And again, it might come back down, but this is the setup that we like to see when we run into exhaustion, meaning we come to the bottom of the broadening formation, okay? We like to see those 2-1-2 setups, so we can look for this to run back up tomorrow on QQQ. That'll be on my top 5 as well, guys. This one, inside bar, doesn't show it because this price of this 2 down and this price are exactly the same. So you don't have great magnitude there. You have 0 magnitude. And the other thing, we are at all-time lows on Uber at 22.80. So I would watch for this to possibly hit that broadening formation and then trend back up. I'm not sure. So we'll see where we end up on that, okay? So we can take calls on this one at 24.51 or puts at 22.80. And I just realized I don't have my time frame continuity. So if you guys are looking for this, type in time frame continuity. Board Rider B is the author. And that will give you this indicator that I've been missing the whole time. Full time frame continuity to the downside. So chances are that we have a 212 continuation on Uber tomorrow, but you never know. VLO, I'm not sure about the premiums or the spread on this one, but we do have an inside bar. So we can take calls on VLO at 123.07 and puts at 117.07. Magnitude is not great here. It's a little better to the upside on VLO. XEL has a 2-up that finished red. And we have this little sub broadening formation, higher high to a higher high. And then lower low, lower low, lower low. So we can look for this to come back down through this trigger at 72.59. This white line that you see here is just part of a bigger broadening formation, okay? So lower low to a lower low. And again, this is one of those things where you guys were asking, where do we put it here? Do we put it here? No, you put it to the lowest point you can before it starts reversing in the other direction, like that. Okay, see how we're trending up there now? That's the first candle that keeps us trending lower. So lower low to a lower low. Yes, we broke through. That's why I've drawn this lower low to these lower lows. Okay, so now we're higher high, lower low, higher high. We'll see if we come back down through this trend on XEL. Okay, and I think this is the last one, guys. XOP. XOP has a 2 down that finished red. But again, we're close to what I've done here is you got a broadening formation from here and here, okay? And realistically, you can draw another one probably from there to there, or call it to there. And then we've got our higher highs hitting and our lower lows hitting, okay? And we're just outside of that range. So we could have a continuation here to this broadening formation and then rebound up, or we could just rebound up from there. Okay, so I don't really have, that would be your trigger on that reversal. So you could take calls on this one at 132.16. Okay, and then your first targets are at the top. Guys, that's a list. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe down below. Follow me on Twitter. Hopefully it gives you a little bit more insight to broadening formations. I will do a video for you guys on broadening formations. Keep sending me tickers on Twitter under the tweet that I asked for tickers to go over for broadening formations, and we'll go through them. I'll do a video for you guys, and hopefully you guys get the hang of the broadening formations. It's one more step to learn the strat. I would concentrate on learning the candles, whether it's inside bars. And again, you see this inside bar here had a great break to the top. This inside bar, this 3-1 setup was amazing, and I did call this one out in our top 5. 3-1 on this would have been Friday, our Lotto Friday. Or sorry, this is Tuesday, Monday, or Monday, yesterday, our top 5 picks. So concentrate on these plays, and then once you get the hang of it, then you can move into the broadening formation. So hope you guys liked it, and we will see you on the next one, guys. Bye-bye.